So we'll call today's meeting of the ASCC to order. There's 4 of us here. You want to do roll call?
Chair War,
Here.
Commissioner Breen,
Here.
Commissioner Dixon,
Here.
Commissioner Vaughn. Here. And you have a quorum.
Thank you. I don't have the agenda with me. So Terrence, would you help me with that?
Sure.
Okay. First item is oral communications. This is where people from, the public can address the ASCC for items not on tonight's agenda.
Carol Vertonghen, you're allowed to speak.
Carol?
I have a quick question. You might have heard the rumors or the facts, I don't know, but the Whites are interested in the historic wood barn, and this is a project that has been presented by MRSOD. And do you know anything about it? I'm directing my question to Mr. War, Mr. Carter War, and of course, Mrs. Breen, because you guys know everything in the town.
It's not on our agenda tonight, so we can't talk
But that's
about it.
why I'm asking during. oral
I
communication.
understand why you're asking, Carolyn, but we can't talk about it tonight.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else?
It looks like no one else is willing to speak.
Anyone here in the room? Nope. Okay. First item of our real agenda.
Want me to read it for you, sir?
Yes, please.
Architectural site plan review associated with work completed without the benefit of permit, which includes landscape improvements, grading, and relocation of pool equipment in the Blue Oaks Plan Unit Development at 16 Buck Meadow Drive with the property owner, Bill Harwick.
Thank you so much. Brandon, would you start with the staff report, please?
Yes, of course. Good evening, Commission. Brandon DeLucas, the project planner for this. So the project is located at 16 Buck Meadow, which is at the very end of Buck Meadow Drive and actually down a private driveway shown here in the vicinity now. So to kind of go over the code requirements, this project is located within the Blue Oaks HOA, which has the Blue Oaks PUD statement that requires architectural review by the ASCC for certain actions. That would include encroachment into the conservation easement, which is part of the application for this evening. The project is subject to the conditions and requirements of the municipal code, design guidelines, and the PUD. Please note the PUD does modify or have slightly different requirements than the municipal code in some areas. So overall, this project came forward due to work completed without the benefit of a permit. The work completed included the removal of a pool house and trellis structures, landscape improvements, including the new water feature, modified plantings, and reduction of lawn area, site improvements, including new site walls, modified paving and paths, new stairs, exterior path lighting, and new location of the pool equipment, and also grading. Please note that the penalty per the municipal code for work done without a permit is 2 times the building permit fee plus $500, which will be assessed at the building permit issuance stage. So before the ASC tonight, only a portion of the work. The demo permits are not before the ASCC, as that is just a staff level review. So before you this evening is the landscape improvements, including the cross-shaped water feature, the modified landscaping plans, the site improvements, as I went over, kind of the site walls, the stairs, the paths, relocation and new paving areas, the relocation of the pool equipment, the new drainage trench, which is more just a drainage feature, and then the exterior path lighting. The grading also does trigger ASCC review. And then additionally, there are the features that are extending outside of the building envelope in the Blue Oaks PUD, which is a portion of the site walls and stairs, a portion of the drainage ditch, and the patio paving. So to briefly go over, this is the previously approved landscaping plan. So you have the landscaping around the pool and then the turf area that's kind of shown in that lighter green that extended all the way around the building and to where the now water the cross-shaped water feature is. So for the proposed planting plans, they are focused kind of around the pool. They are shrinking the lawn area to kind of more of the smaller, which is approximately still about 3,000 square feet, where previously, I believe, they removed approximately 6,000 square feet of lawn area. They are proposing plants that are consistent with the PUD statement and removing some invasive species that are directly adjacent to the building to ensure compliance with the fire requirements for fire hardening. The proposed landscape also includes the cross-shaped water feature, which is located at the rear of the building. This water feature is made of blue mosaic tiles and does have an infinity edge. So the site improvements. The site improvements start including the site walls and stairs. Here are two photos kind of shown here of the stairs leading down from the cross area to nothing. And then kind of the site walls that are surrounding that area. And then site paving. So on the left, we do kind of see that new paving. So they had moved it away from the building and kind of giving a gap to the building. You can see that reflected in this sheet here. The red is where the new is. This kind of purple cross feature is the old paving. So they shifted it out away from the building. One thing that isn't reflected here, and I'll note in a moment, is that there is additional paving in this area that is proposed that will be their dining patio. It's expanding upon this area. So everything kind of shifted. And then we have the relocation of the pool equipment. The pool equipment where it currently is within the slope easement is the unpermitted location. It was located closer to the cabana originally. They moved it there. They're moving it back to the square footage of where the cabana was. They are landscaping around it and providing a little design wall. It is slightly set down to help not impede the views out, looking out from the pool. Exterior path lighting. They are proposing 12 exterior lights. These are the smaller, kind of more landscape lighting with a maximum lumens of 200. There are kind of specified here in the plans. There's 4 around the pool area, 1 here, and then this is that stone paving that was missing in the earlier exhibit. 1 near that, here at the corner, 2 at the stairs that are going down to the cross-shaped feature, 1 at the stairs going down to the kind of that empty area, and then 1 along this path here. Now grading. So there was a total of 414 cubic yards of soil movement. That includes cut and fill. The big part is that a lot of that grading did occur outside of the building envelope. And that was just to kind of create not only set down for where the cross water feature is, but also level out the area closer to where the lawn is. And so that is where a lot of that soil movement occurred. And this is our best estimate of the amount of soil because there isn't necessarily the before and after, since this was done without permits. This was created looking at LiDAR data to create some of these numbers. So for the Blue Oaks PUD, there are features outside of the building envelope that's identified in the Blue Oaks PUD. It does say that the ASCC may review fences, entry features, and paving that occur outside the building envelope. However, it does also acknowledge that for Lot 33, it has one of the smallest building envelopes within the PUD. And that hardscape and other landscaping may need to actually occur outside of the building envelope, but again, that is still at the discretion of the ASCC. So the site improvements that are outside the building envelope. Here in the red is those stairs going down and the site walls directly adjacent to them. Here in the yellow, really small, they barely encroach, but they still encroach, is kind of the ends of that trough that they're doing to kind of redirect the water. And then here at the bottom in this purple, we have 172 square feet of that dining patio that they are proposing at this location. So for public comment, a notice did go out to the neighbors within 300 feet. That is all of 3, given its location. And staff has not received any additional comments since then. We did have that site visit earlier today. During the site visit, staff did notice work that was not reflected in the plans, including electrical. So staff is recommending that we have an additional condition of approval that states the following: all unpermitted work that is not reflected in the plan submitted for ASCC or review shall be removed in its entirety. And so that is part of the normal building permit process, but we wanted to make sure it was spelled out very clear, particularly the electrical that we saw laying everywhere, that will need to be removed completely gone. So staff does recommend that the AACC review the plans and staff report, offer any feedback or additional conditions of approval. And if you so do decide to move, we do recommend with the modified conditions as stated in the previous slide. And staff is available for questions.
Provide any additional presentation?
Thanks, yeah. Thank you for your time and energy in this matter. The Herwicks apologize for not being able to be here this evening. They had a previous family matter to attend to.
Can you get closer to your mic,
Sorry.
please?
The Herwicks apologize for not being here this evening. They had a previous family engagement to attend to. But I'm here to answer any questions or comments and work with you on resolving this stop work order.
Okay. Any questions of the applicant? Okay. We'll move on to public comment on this item. Anyone here in the schoolhouse? Nope.
Not seeing any virtual public comment.
Okay. We'll move on, close the public comment period. Dana, would you start, please?
Sure. Thank you for your time today and the visit. I don't really have a lot to add to what we saw today. Because there's no lighting on the fountain, there's no extra lighting, right? So I feel okay about the lighting that is on the plan, but I do think that any non-conforming lighting needs to be removed and all of the opportunity for adding future lights where those wires were. So all of that clearly needs to go. As long as you are aware of the fire department and that you're not allowed to plant 5 feet, and is that going to change your design? I mean, what goes there?
reflected
Rocks?
in
So
the-
you're going to have a backyard with rocks and bark.
Well, it's reflected in the planting plan update and in the
Okay.
package that you have. So that particular material would be a crushed rock, most presumably a 3/4 inch California gold, something that
Okay.
reflects the architecture and its coloration.
I just want to see everything before it's finalized.
Thanks.
You know,
Understood.
nothing post-final.
Right.
So, I have, and I'm also okay with anything that's inside the encroachment area. Okay, I mean, yeah.
Thanks, Dana. Dina?
I think, generally same page as Dana. think my only question is, whether those steps to nowhere, I mean, they're pretty large and they're outside of that building envelope area, whether there's some modification that could be made to those to just, reduce the amount of intrusion into that area. But other than that,
I also noted the steps to nowhere, and steps generally lead to something at a future date. There's also a light there. If the steps go away, the light should go away as well. I don't think the other two small corners are that great of an intrusion, nor the dining area piece myself, but the steps.
Okay. I was on the ASCC when this subdivision was approved. I was on the ASCC when the building envelope shape, was adjusted. It is a building envelopes on all these lots, are highly constrained. I'm not sure that the building envelope limits, as they're described, were really based on, anything more accurate than what was being proposed. I think I'm not sure if, well, let me back up. The words inside, of, this lot's description accurately described that, there was likely going to be, some need for, some level of intrusion. And I don't find the intrusions, as they're described, and applied for today, to be, very much, if anything. I appreciate the homeowners association, wanting, those things to be, fully limited. At the same time, which would lead us to adjusting the building envelope. At the same time, the building envelope doesn't have much, much to give, if we were looking for exchanges. And so I find myself pressed, to allow the header board, intrusions, and the small patio, off the end of the, building, adjacent to the pool, but find the steps to nowhere, being fairly grand, and without any, real purpose, to be the point that I can't, support. I think the largest problem, is the 5 years it's taken to get here. And I find that egregious, particularly since the homeowners association, dealt with this, pretty rapidly, in 2021. And I don't know if it's, a combination, of, what was going on in the town, what was going on in the world. But, to allow this to sit and languish, for, essentially 4 years, is really problematic for me. So,
I'm happy to address that issue in particular because the clients feel the same.
yeah.
Sorry, the applicants.
Mhm.
Some of it was, obviously the pandemic, there were no meetings with the HOA in person. And we were relegated to working with the property manager by talking on his phone as we passed the phone around. He was using a free service to communicate with us. So the board never understood what we were trying to describe. There were no exhibits to share with them. So we couldn't physically show them the plans. We went through iteration after iteration. And the board itself had mixed feelings about showing the components that are just a stop work order and showing all the future work. I kept trying to keep it limited to the stop work order to keep it focused, and they wanted to see everything. So we went back in numerous iterations before that was resolved. Then we get into town planning, which, as you know, has gone through multiple iterations in the last few years. That was a big piece of it, is we'd get along, particularly at top levels, and then everything would fall apart and we'd start from scratch again. We've gone back in that cycle as well of having to represent everything and repackage it in a different form. If this could have been done in a year, great. And I think if they'd gone through proper channels and actually applied for the permit, it would have taken probably a year to get through. So the applicants feel very much the same you do. Let's resolve this and move on and complete it. I appreciate your concern for sure.
Because in general, I don't find what you're applying for to be egregious, outstanding, problematic, except for the work being done, without the benefit, of a permit. Even, there's a process that the town has in providing a residential data report, that with the with the sale of, every residential property, it explains pretty clearly, what needs to be permitted and what doesn't. And the pool equipment, and the demolition of buildings, would rationally, be outside of that you can do without, a permit. Some of the other things, that are proposed here, I do think could be, rationally outside of what most people would consider, could be done without a permit. So I support the project, with the condition that, the exterior lights that are not being proposed and not shown as existing, be removed. And I support, the additional condition, that Brandon brought forward, tonight, and that the steps to nowhere be eliminated, from the plan. Other than that, I support it.
We also saw that the stairs were not in good shape, and given that they're brand new, so their construction is possibly a problem.
Well, I'm recommending, that our conditions include, the demolition, of the stairs.
I think the applicants would be amenable to that.
Yeah.
There, as we were explaining when we were on site, 3 of the steps that are shown were actually previously, they had stone cladding on it, was removed. One more step was added when the site was graded, I believe.
Yeah.
But as you say, it's sort of steps to nowhere. So
Yeah, and that area be naturalized. So, with that, I'd entertain further discussion, if not, a conditioned, motion to approve.
Did we have any discussion about the color match
Color match?
of the house? Color match? Okay.
I mean,
Nothing- nothing new.
What's been described, what Nicholas, was pointing to was that the original color would be, continue to be the color that would.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And I think that's what's being applied for. I think the other colors that are on there, are, amateurish, prize.
I think I just read something. Sure. Sounds good.
So I would move to approve then with the staff conditions, with the added condition that the stairs are removed.
Any further discussion?
If I could just also clarify, you would also want the site wall removed on the far side of the stair as well. So the stairs and that site wall?
Yes.
Perfect. Just wanted to clear for the record.
Second,
I would second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. No. All in favor? No. No in opposition. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, you guys.
Yep. Thanks. Do we have any staff, or, commissioner report?
The only staff report I want to indicate is you are down to 4 members, and the town council will be opening up the application period soon to bring a 5th commissioner on board. But that I don't have the timeframes at this point, but just want to let you know that is in progress.
Well, I think in the meantime, we're good and we'll keep hearing things.
I have a few people who are interested, so I will get in touch with you and tell you who's coming your way.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Is there any further business? Hearing none. Meeting is adjourned.